Hello everybody. Today I am going to be showing you how to replace the battery on your watch. So if this is something you have been needing to do, maybe we're a little nervous about doing, today I'm going to talk you through all these steps of how to replace your watch battery. This battery, as you can see in this watch, is completely gone. So I'm going to be walking through all the equipment you need. This is a pretty simple process, so I just want you to feel more comfortable with how to do it. First, I just want to give you a quick review of some of the equipment we will be using. And if you're needing this equipment, there will be links below in the description, little affiliate links. I got a very cheap watch repair toolkit. I think there's around $8 or $9 when I bought it. It's going to have all the tools we need for swapping out the battery on our watch. There'll be, different openers, some tweezers for replacing the battery, a little screwdriver, and depending on the back of your battery and what it looks like, you might have to be using a different set of tools. We also are going to be using some replacement batteries. These were like a 10 pack for like $5 or something. This supposedly lasts 3 years, so we won't be using all these batteries, but we have it. And then the other thing I got, I'm not sure if I'll need this or not, this is for the gasket. If you have a waterproof watch that is sealed, like mine is supposed to be a diver watch, you could potentially have a gasket that needs some silicone reapplied. So I went ahead and bought this tool as well. I'm not sure if we'll be using it for this watch specifically, but I wanted to have it on hand in case I needed it. But the first step we're going to do here is removing the strap from the watch. And depending on what kind of strap you have, you may not actually have to remove it. You might be able to set it to the side. This watch, for example, I could just be pulling it through and that would be enough. But I am going to show you all how to remove it if you do have pins on your watch like this and you need to get the pins out if you had a metal lock. So these items here, we call them watch pins. And they're all just pinned in place. They're just pressure sensitive. And the toolkit we got did in fact come with a tool for removing these pins. You're simply just going to put them in here, put some pressure down, and that'll get it out of place. The kit I got also has replacements for them. Presumably if they're the wrong size or if you break one doing this process, it's nice to have some different size ones on hand. So I'll just go ahead and show you how you do that in case you do need to remove these pins. You're just going to want to take that little tool there, push it down, and it should snap right out. So it kind of flew away a little bit. The next tool we're going to grab from our toolbox is this clamp vise for holding the watch in place as we are removing the back. You can see it on my back. I have these little spots here that I'm going to actually need to reach in and grab to turn the back off. Some watches might have a back where you have to slide a tool like this to remove the back of the watch off of. And then other ones, kind of similarly, you might have something where it's like a little gap and you have to put a flathead screwdriver in there to pop it off, and you could probably use this as well for popping that off. So depending on what your watch is, you might have a different tool for the job. But putting it into this vise here is going to help us keep that watch in place as we are removing it so that we don't have to be holding on to it. You do want to pay attention to the sides here. This is where your cap is going to go on. So if you do have a chronometer, it has the spots for all three. And we're just going to tie it down on this vise so that we get a nice good amount of stability there. And then the tool that came with my kit, I'm going to try it out, is this thing. It lets you wind it to get a different amount of space, and you're going to want to wind it up with your screws. You could use a pair of needle nose pliers and kind of grab both ends. I'm going to try it with this and just see how it goes. Once you get the spacers on correctly, you're just going to want to put them straight down and get them into the slots, and then grab onto the vise here and turn. And you can see it's a little tight. We got a little squeakiness coming out there as we did it. Again, you don't need the vise, but it helps it secure it in place a little better as you're applying all that friction. Let's see if we can just get it off with our hands. Yeah. So that is the watch back removed. And again, you might have a different process for yours. There's that gasket I talked about. So I will go ahead and get some silicone on that gasket when we put it back. And that's what the back of my watch looks like. It's got this plastic protection piece here that we can just pop right off. And this item right here, let me get a little pointer tool for you. And so right here is the battery that we will be removing and taking out. So if you have a battery operated watch, your back is going to look similar to this, where there should be a pretty easy spot to get to your battery. We're just going to go in with our tweezers here and try to pop out that battery. It should just come out. There you go. And we will put in the new one. One thing I wanted to add real quick is just depending on the type of watch you have, you might have a different watch battery. You're definitely going to want to check the model of your watch and make sure you're getting the right type of battery for your watch. But this is the watch battery we will be using, and honestly it's big enough that if you don't have the tweezers either, you could just pop it into place like that. So, you know, if you don't have the tweezers and the tools, you don't have to buy this watch replacement kit to do what I did. I just found it easier and it was pretty cheap. Makes it a little bit easier, and it's nice to have all the different tools and replacement parts for it. And depending on what type of battery you have, that wasn't fully all the way pushed down. It should be all the way pushed down now. Let's go ahead and see, before I seal this all back up, if the battery watch is ticking. And look at that. See that second hand moving? So we are back to functioning, which means we can go ahead and get this watch sealed right back up. So this watch did come with this plastic metal cap. We're going to go ahead and pop that back on into place. It should just click in. Yours may or may not have something like that. And the other item we're going to do is this gasket here. Now this gasket is put on to keep items waterproof. For your, if you have a diver watch, obviously you may not have this gasket, and if you don't take yours out into the water, or if yours is looking nice and supple, you know, you don't necessarily have to replace it. But since I've got it open, since I kind of wanted to do this anyway, I am going to use this silicone here to get a nice little bit of grease on it, make the gasket last a little bit longer. Maybe it helps it keep it a little bit more waterproof. Obviously I'm never going to go diving with this watch at this point, but it is just nice to have. You just put the gasket in there, you put the lid on, just kind of move it back and forth, and that'll get a nice little layer of silicone on there. Now we have the gasket, and we're just going to put it back onto the lid. You can see this one's even a little loose. We'll just kind of get it in place. Okay, now that the gasket is in place, we are going to just put the back on. I'm going to go ahead and hand tighten it at first. Just kind of make sure I'm getting it secured. You can see that gasket wanting to pop out a little bit there. So I'm going to go ahead and just hand tighten this down, make sure it's in a good spot, and then I'll be using the tool that we have to finish it and get it nice and tight. Again, if you don't have the tool, you don't have the vise, you don't need all this stuff for just a simple battery replacement. You know, we do have a screwdriver here, and I never had to get to any parts at all that involve that screwdriver. But I just want to show you, if you did buy this watch kit, what you do get access to. So that's on there pretty tight, but we're just going to go ahead and use the tool here and turning it. That just gets it that little bit extra tighter. Okay, so now it's on there nice and tight, and let's go ahead and take it out. We can take a look and see if that second hand is still moving, and it sure is. So that's our battery replacement. So we do have to go ahead and put our pins back in. So if you can put in the bottom hole, again, these are kind of pressure plated where they just want to go down, and there we go, just line it up, and that should be good. Again, if you break these, this watch kit did have replacement parts for it, which is nice. And you're just going to be looking for something called watch pins or watch band pins if you happen to break one and you need a new one. Again, if you don't have to do this step, I'd recommend not, just because it adds a little bit extra work. But if you have a watch with a metal band, you might have to go ahead and do that. And that is on there nice and secure. And then once you have the pins back on, you can just reattach whatever strap you have. And that is the process of replacing a watch battery. Hopefully you found this video helpful. You know, it's a pretty simple process, but if you're somebody that's able to just get in there and wants to mess around some, definitely a skill I'd recommend having if you're interested in watches at all. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to subscribe. Please make sure to leave a like. And I appreciate you all watching. Hope you have a good day. Bye.